opening up diagonals for the queen and bishop immediately stakes a claim in the center. Immediately contesting the center's central square, this asymmetrical response sets the stage for a dynamic positional struggle rather than a symmetrical pawn structure. Developing a knight to f3 immediately challenges the center and prepares for castling, embracing a flexible and dynamic game. Initiating the French defense solidifies the pawn structure, embracing a more constrained but resilient position. Challenging the center immediately, this opens lines and demands a clear response from Black regarding pawn structure. Black surrenders central space, inviting White's pawns to advance and seize control of the board's core. Centralizing your knight so aggressively immediately dictates the game's rhythm and claims vital space. Developing the knight to f6 not only unblocks the queen, but also pressures White's central pawn, a common theme in this Sicilian setup. Developing the knight to c3 establishes a solid pawn structure and prepares for rapid piece development, aiming to control the center. Instigating tactical skirmishes, bishop targets the knight's influence, setting up potential pins and disruptions for White's central control. Developing the bishop here to d3 creates a harmonious chord of pieces, simultaneously preparing castling and potentially eyeing the kingside for future play while maintaining pressure on the center. Immediately challenging the central pawn creates a dynamic imbalance, forcing White's knight to retreat and potentially opening lines for Black's pieces. This aggressive posture aims to seize initiative and disrupt White's developing harmony, but it also concedes space in the center and could lead to a slightly exposed king if Black isn't careful with subsequent development. Retreating the knight to e2 concedes central space and allows Black's pawn majority to advance, potentially creating a powerful passed pawn on the queenside later if White isn't careful about containing it. It signals a more passive defensive posture rather than actively challenging Black's central buildup. Opening up lines aggressively, this pawn thrust immediately challenges White's central grip and seeks to exploit the knight's current defensive posturing to gain vital space. Suddenly opening the center after a bit of a positional dance, this capture injects immediate tactical energy, potentially liberating pieces for both sides and setting up a dynamic struggle for control of key squares. Snatching back the pawn creates immediate central tension and opens lines, but it invites White's pieces to centralize and potentially pin the knight with the upcoming bishop development. Initiating kingside safety clears the board for future central action, prioritizing the monarch's well-being over immediate pawn grabs and creating a secure haven from the e-file's latent pressure, allowing pieces to reorient towards more active roles. Challenging the central pawn structure, Black immediately seeks to free their game and potentially open lines towards White's castled king. This aggressive pawn thrust also liberates the bishop on c8 and prepares for further piece development, aiming to exploit the slight imbalance created by White's knight maneuver. A calculated exchange, aiming to simplify the position and seize the central squares previously contested by the d5 pawn, while opening a diagonal for White's queen. Unveiling the queen now offers immediate activity, potentially disrupting White's pawn structure if answered aggressively, yet it also exposes the monarch to future checks and avenues of attack from White's actively placed knights. Sharpening the tactical edges, White probes for weaknesses by challenging the bishop's foothold and simultaneously creating space to potentially maneuver the queen. Black strategically retreats the bishop, creating a more resilient pawn structure on the queenside after the pawn exchange, while simultaneously preparing to challenge White's central control by potentially harassing the knight on c3 or creating future attacking opportunities. Unfurling a pawn to threaten the bishop and gain space, White initiates a dynamic confrontation, aiming to pry open the queenside and potentially disrupt Black's coordination. This pawn thrust, while seemingly aggressive, opens up tactical possibilities and forces Black to make a decision about their bishop's safety, potentially leading to an advantageous exchange or a retreat that concedes valuable tempo. Relocating the bishop to the wing opens lines of attack and simultaneously prepares for potential pawn advances in the center, creating a dynamic tension that challenges white's central control and hints at future castling possibilities to the queen side. Liberating the rook from its initial post, this repositioning signals an intent to contest the central files and potentially reinforce the d4 square, aiming for a more active presence on the board while implicitly preparing for future pawn pushes or rook lifts to exploit any potential weaknesses in black's pawn structure. Black seizes the initiative on the king side, aggressively challenging white's central pawn structure and seeking to open lines for his pieces, particularly the queen and potentially the kingside rook, to exploit white's somewhat exposed king position. Aggressively confronting the central pawn mass, this maneuver seizes critical space and prepares to challenge black's advanced e-pawn, aiming to pry open the position for white's pieces. A strategic pivot, qf7 shifts the queen to a more active diagonal, preparing to join the queenside pawn storm and offering support to potential king's side advances by its own pieces. Shifting the knight to c3 now feels like a bit of a backtrack, potentially relinquishing the central presence established on e2. Instead of reinforcing the e4 pawn or pressuring the d5 outpost, this repositioning allows black's f-pawn to advance further, potentially creating a strong blockade and limiting white's piece mobility on the king side. It feels like a missed opportunity to assert more control in the center or develop a more aggressive plan. Castling grants the monarch sanctuary, finally tucking away the king behind a pawn shield, a crucial step after the recent pawn storm on the king side and the central tension that had been brewing. This also prepares for potential counterplay on the open files, bringing the rook into the game. A daring gambit for central dominance, forcing a retreat and potentially opening lines for immediate attack. The bishop's departure to e6 aims to establish a more robust pawn structure and potentially prepare for future kingside expansion, though it momentarily sacrifices control over the vital d5 square to white's knight. Suddenly, the bishop on b2 adopts a vigilant posture, its gaze extending across the long diagonal and subtly reinforcing the central pawn structure while preparing to contest the open c-file should it arise, effectively shoring up the queenside and adding a layer of positional pressure that hints at a future kingside assault. This daring pawn thrust boldly challenges white's central control, aiming to pry open lines for black's pieces and disrupt the knight's comfortable outpost on d5. By advancing to e4, black creates immediate tension, forcing white to react and potentially concede important squares. The move sacrifices space in the short term, but the potential payoff is significant if white mismanages the resulting complications, opening up diagonal avenues for the bishop on c7 and potentially creating attacking chances against the white king. Dislodging that knight from its crucial outpost on d5 instantly alters the piece dynamics, creating a new tactical interplay and potentially simplifying into a more favorable middle game for white by offering exchanges that ease black's pressure. Black reclaims the piece, resolving the immediate tension on the d5 square and reintegrating the queen into the developing action. However, this exchange also slightly opens the d-file, which might become a future avenue for white's rooks if black isn't careful with pawn structure and piece placement. Preparing to redeploy the bishop to a more active diagonal after its temporary exile, aiming to pressure black's queenside pawns and potentially support a central pawn push. The knight now ventures to the center, a bold sortie that immediately challenges white's bishop on f1 and hints at future maneuvers towards the king side. Clearing the tension on the e-file and simplifying the material imbalance, this exchange aims to leverage the bishop pair's long-term potential against a potentially isolated pawn structure for black, while also opening lines for white's rooks. Reclaiming the queen to the center often signifies a desire to re-engage the queenside pawns and potentially contest the open c-file, while simultaneously preparing to defend against any immediate kingside pressure that might arise. Unlocking the central files and preparing to challenge black's control of the e4 square emerges as the primary objective from this piece of strategy. Opening the d-file is a timely initiative, aiming to activate the rook and apply pressure along that important central corridor. Pivoting the rook to the d-file immediately challenges black's central pawn presence and prepares to contest the open file, potentially forcing concessions or creating tactical opportunities for white's pieces. Clearing the central files here opens up a direct confrontation along the d-file, precisely what black needs to activate their remaining pieces and challenge white's entrenched position. Reclaiming the queen resolves the immediate material imbalance and sets the stage for further maneuvering in the central and queenside sectors. A tactical skirmish erupts as black challenges the open file, aiming to disrupt white's centralized queen and potentially create counterplay. Recapturing on c1 immediately seeks to untangle white's queenside and prepare for potential pawn advances, aiming to exploit the open files that have arisen from the previous exchanges. The queens are off the board, initiating a significant strategic shift towards the endgame. This exchange simplifies the position, highlighting the importance of pawn structure and piece activity. Black's king is now somewhat exposed with the advance of the e-pawn, and white will aim to exploit the open c-file and potential weaknesses around the black monarch. The game has entered a phase where precise maneuvering and deep calculation become paramount. Solidifying the queenside pawn structure after the exchange of queens now becomes paramount, as white aims to navigate the upcoming endgame with a more favorable pawn majority. The rooks finally stand eye-to-eye on the open file, a pivotal moment where the battle for control of this vital artery of the board will be decided. Initiating pawn structure refinement, this maneuver aims to grant the king greater safety and prepare for potential pawn advances on the king side, while also subtly improving the bishop's diagonal scope. Bringing the king into the game can be a double-edged sword, opening up vital lines for action, but also exposing it to potential threats in what promises to be an active endgame phase. Propelling the c-pawn forward injects dynamism into the position, aiming to disrupt black's central pawn structure and potentially create a passed pawn in the future. Reclaiming space and preparing for a more active role, this repositioning of the king aims to consolidate the pawn structure while keeping an eye on potential attacking avenues. Bringing the bishop back to c4 aims to gain better control over the central squares, specifically the d5 square, and prepare for potential advances on the queen side while keeping an eye on black's potentially exposed king. Challenging the pawn chain's forward momentum, this bishop repositions to a more active diagonal, aiming to pressure white's weakened king side and potentially support a rook lift. Opening up the queenside flank with this pawn thrust aims to create new avenues for your rooks and disrupt black's pawn structure, potentially forcing concessions or weakening their defensive web. Attempting to create queenside space and attacking potential, black initiates a pawn storm that might overextend their position, potentially opening lines for white's rook. Pushing the b-pawn here attempts to disrupt black's pawn structure and potentially gain space on the queen side, but it also creates potential weaknesses on the c5 square and for the pawn itself. The immediate danger is that this pawn could become a target for black's rook and bishop if not adequately supported or if black can coordinate an attack effectively. Consider if opening the queen side further benefits white or grants black counterplay. Unleashing a pawn storm on the king side. This ambitious advance aims to shatter white's queenside pawn structure and open crucial lines for black's rook and bishop to penetrate. It's a daring attempt to seize the initiative, transforming what was a relatively static position into a dynamic struggle where tactical opportunities will surely arise. Shifting the monarch to the first rank finally addresses the looming threat of a king's flank attack and prepares for a potential pawn race by liberating the g-file for rook activity. Asserting pressure on the d-file, the rook mobilizes to a more active square, aiming to exploit any lingering weaknesses in white's pawn structure and potentially support a pawn advance. The monarch's journey to the center, while seemingly bold, now exposes him to the opposing rook's dominion over the open file, potentially inviting awkward defensive maneuvers. This maneuver, aiming to penetrate the enemy position via the b-file, feels like a desperate gamble given the pawn structure's current rigidity. The strategy appears to be a bold attempt to exploit the weak pawn on b5, but it comes at the cost of abandoning defense on the queen side and potentially leaving the king exposed to future checks along the open diagonal. One must question whether this aggressive advance justifies the positional concessions it necessitates. The rook, while active, is also somewhat isolated. Consider the long-term implications of this rook's placement. Is it truly supported enough to survive the coming storm, or will it become a tantalizing target for White's reorganized forces? The piece aims to create a second front, but this boldness might be misplaced without adequate support structures to sustain the attack. Opening the G-file with the pawn capture creates immediate pressure on the Black king, potentially unraveling Black's defensive structure by offering a path for White's rooks to penetrate. This pawn sacrifice aims to disrupt White's central pawn structure and create attacking opportunities on the kingside, leveraging the open G-file for potential piece activity. Opening the bishop to c4 and then retreating it to e2 might seem like a defensive repositioning, but it subtly prepares for a potential pawn advance on the kingside, aiming to create space and disrupt Black's rook activity by hinting at further pawn breaks like g4. The Black king bravely marches forward, seeking active participation and potentially a sanctuary on the queenside while disrupting White's pawn chain. Cracking open the queenside structure with that pawn thrust creates a deep, permanent weakness on d6, fundamentally altering the endgame's character. Opening the b-file for the rook grants temporary activity, but at the cost of weakening your pawn structure. The rook now infiltrates the remaining queenside pawn structure, aiming to disrupt Black's defensive setup and potentially create passed pawns on the open file. The bishop's repositioning to the e6 square finally aims to contest the open c-file, a vital artery for White's initiative, while simultaneously preparing to activate the kingside pawns. The bishop retreats, aiming to bolster the pawns on the kingside and prepare for potential breakthroughs or defensive maneuvers, as White seeks to stabilize the pawn structure and reposition their pieces for the endgame. Sensing an opportunity to exploit the exposed king, Black's rook infiltrates the first rank, aiming to disrupt White's defensive structure and threaten further inroads. Delivering a powerful check across the board, White forces the opposing king to a precarious square, aiming to disrupt Black's defensive structure and exploit the exposed position for potential tactical gains. The Black king embarks on a perilous journey towards the center, a daring gamble to activate its defensive capabilities amidst the chaotic pawn structure, yet it leaves itself dangerously exposed to White's advancing pawns and potential checks. Reclaiming the open file after a dramatic exchange, White aims to neutralize Black's activated rook and prepare for a more stable central structure, though the bishop on c8 remains a significant positional weakness for Black. Unleashing the passed pawn, a bold gamble to disrupt White's coordination and seize initiative in the cluttered center, risking overextension if the advance falters. Opening a critical file with the pawn thrust forces the Black king further into vulnerable territory and disrupts any lingering piece coordination. The pawn sacrifice on the e-file cracks open the king's defense, creating a dynamic scenario where immediate activity trumps material. Initiating a decisive rook maneuver to sever the isolated king's escape routes, anticipating Black's potential counterplay with the passed pawn. The bishop's re-entry into the fray aims to disrupt White's newly acquired pawn chain, seeking tactical counterplay before White's rook solidifies its dominant position on the 7th rank. The king hunt intensifies, forcing the Black monarch out into the open with a check that strips away defensive support and opens lines for a decisive attack. The Black king's desperate dash forward now finds itself on a perilous path, completely exposed and vulnerable to the incoming rook and bishop battery. Preserving the integrity of your king's defenses necessitates a forward step to provide breathing room and potentially shore up the pawn structure. The bishop retreats to a less crowded diagonal, seeking a safer haven as the pawns on the kingside become increasingly exposed, and the rook on the 7th rank exerts significant pressure.